Hello everyone, this is a recap of our introduction lesson to Photoshop. Just going to go through the stuff that we already did together as a class, looking at our Unit 1 folder, Photoshop intro, selection, and beginning with our photo of Bishop Redding. Remember, it's Command plus to zoom in. Our layers panel is over on the right. We always want to make a duplicate of our original photo, so with the layer selected, we hit Command J, and this creates a duplicate for us. Now the first thing that we did was put in a blue sky, so let's take a moment to go back to our Finder window. We'll right-click on Sky and open with Photoshop as well. So we wanted to give a nice blue background for our lovely high school, and that involved getting rid of this white sky. So the first thing you'll do is make sure that your background layer is off, and we'll do that by clicking on the eyeball. Now we will go to our magic wand and we will select the sky. What we see right now is that the tolerance level that I have on is far too high, so it's cutting out things like the flags and the top of the school. So we're going to hit Command D to deselect, and let's drop this tolerance level down to about 20 and see what that does for us. Let's try again, the magic wand, shortcut W. Alright, still cutting off quite a bit of the flags, but let's take this opportunity to practice with the lasso tool, which is shortcut L. And let's zoom in. So remember that what we have selected right now is actually the sky. And so that means that we want to deselect these parts of the flag. So remember that to deselect something, you hold the Alt or Option key. You click and drag along where you want the selection to stop and wrap around the area that is falsely selected and let go. Do the same again, hold down Alt. When you see that minus sign, you're good to go. Trace along where you want the selection to end and wrap around what's already falsely selected. Good. Let's take care of this flag over here. So with this one, let's hold down Alt again, wrap around. There we go. All right. So now let's zoom out. That's Command minus. And let's hit the delete key and see what happens. Good, our sky is gone, so we can hit Command D to deselect. Now what we can do is with our move tool, shortcut V, we can click and drag the image. Remember, you won't see anything until you let go. Good, now I'm going to zoom out. And we're going to see how large this image actually is by hitting Command T to transform. And it's quite big. So while holding Shift, you are going to click and drag in the corner, shrink it down to size, pull it up. Now it's in front of the school right now, so we want to go to our layers panel and click and drag this blue sky layer underneath layer 1. Oh, but we can't do that actually until we're finished transforming, so we'll hold Shift and continue to resize. That should be fine for now. So hit Enter to set your transformation, and now we can move the layer below. Command plus to zoom back in. Excellent. Remember, whatever layer you have selected is a layer that will be affected. So if I have my move tool, I can't move. Oh, actually, I can because my settings are currently set that way. That's okay. So I'll show you guys how to do that in class otherwise. So let's move the sky around. You can move it to wherever you want it to be. And let's move that back. All right. So I'm happy with that blue sky right now. Let's take a moment to label our layers by double clicking on the text. We have sky and school. Good. So we're done with sky now, so we can exit. Now let's go back to our Finder window and let's bring in Finn. So we're just going to click and drag him Remember, don't let go until you're on the document. Oop, there he is. Transform with Command T. Remember that you have to hold Shift, otherwise this will happen, and you will be able to transform him without saving the proportions, but if you hold Shift, then the proportions are saved. When you're happy, press Enter. You can exit out of Finn. Let's go back here, open up Kim Possible, click and drag her. Good, she's quite a large image, so Command T, hold Shift, drag the corners. Click and drag her up, hold Shift again, drag the corners, and we can have her, we'll make her smaller, which means that she will be appearing as though she's farther away. Hit Enter to set the transformation. Take a moment to label KP, and layer 1 is Finn. Done with KP. Now let's open up Bart. Alright, so for Bart, click and drag. And Bart is not showing up, and let me tell you why. So go back to Bart here. He is actually an image. If you take a look at the extension here, he's a GIF. And right now we need to change the mode of the image. See where it says index? This limits our ability to edit the image. So if we go up to image, go to mode, right now it's set to index color, but we need to have our files in RGB color. So we're going to click that. And now we should be able to click and drag over to our BR area. And there he is. Take a moment to rename the layer, Bart. Command T. And let's get him to size, holding Shift again to maintain his proportions. We'll have him grinding the curve over here. Good. Enter to set. Don't bother saving this if you don't want to. Make sure that you are opening the files from your desktop and not the X drive. I'm just going to hit Don't Save. Alright, Johnny Bravo. Open with Photoshop. Let's click and drag this guy over here. And he is massive. So Command -sign, zoom on out. Zoom way out, and then Command T. You can see that he was quite large, too large for life. Zoom in, click and drag with your move tool to bring him back. Hold Shift again, make him more reasonable. And then just slowly zoom in until you're there. So we'll shrink him down. We can have him standing over here, flexing on that corner. Excellent. Rename this one Johnny B. Get rid of Johnny Bravo there. Now let's open up Miss Frizzle. Alright, so we can see that she's indexed as well as Bart was. So we'll go to Image, Mode, RGB Color. Now, before we bring Miss Frizzle over, all other images, they didn't have a background, but she does. So we want to isolate her. And what we're going to do is we are going to use the magic wand. We're going to select the blue background. Make sure that you hold Shift to add to your selection as well to get this area. I'm going to click. And now we're going to invert the selection, because right now if I wanted to move this with my move tool, it would be the blue that would move because it's the blue that's actually selected. Remember, Photoshop never knows what you are wanting to do, just acting in the most logical way it can. So you need to be very clear with your instructions based off of your key commands. So Shift Command I, that inversed our selection, so now Miss Frizzle has been selected. Click and drag her over here. Boom, there she is. Command T, hold Shift. And we can have her standing by the flagpole. Rename this Frizzle. Awesome. Get rid of Miss Frizzle. I decided not to save. Powerpuff Girls. Now the last background that we pulled from was solid blue. This has many shades of blue in the background. So we are going to up our tolerance, let's say to, well, let's try 40. See what we got. Nope, it's not enough. Let's jump up even higher. Let's try maybe 70. That's pretty good. Just going to hold shift and get this little spot near bubbles that was missed. Now I'm going to hit Shift Command I to inverse the selection. I'm going to use my Move tool, shortcut V, to grab our three figures and bring them over here. And there they are. Make them a bit smaller, Command T, hold Shift to transform, and hit Enter to set the transformation. Good, rename the layer Powerpuff. And now, let's take a look at how we can get Belle into our school setting. I find that the easiest tool to use here is underneath the same area as the magic wand, so right click, choose the quick selection tool, and with this, the circle you see is your brush size. You can use the square bracket key on the right to make the brush size bigger, the one on the left to make it smaller. And all you'll do is click and drag slowly over the areas that you want to be grabbed. Remember that Photoshop is really just recognizing colors, so it's really only guessing what you want to have selected right now. Click that area, the basket. So you can see that now it's chosen this green background area as well, but we'll fix that later. And I'm going to zoom in. And let's also make the brush smaller with a square bracket. Let's grab the foot and the ankle. Alright, so here's where the lasso tool comes in handy to refine our selection. I am going to use, the Alt key to deselect certain things. So I'm going to trace around exactly what I want, holding down the click for this. And there we go. Didn't need that. What else can we adjust? This kid's face got in the selection, so we're going to hold Alt and trace along what we do want selected, and then wrap around what we don't want selected anymore. Same thing here. Trace what we do want, and wrap around what we don't. And now this needs to be selected, so we're actually going to hold Shift, trace around what we do want selected, and wrap around the old boundaries. And hold Alt again to get rid of what we don't want selected. Wrap around. Good. Overall, I'd say pretty good. We should get rid of these negative spaces in here, so we can hold down Alt and just fully trace them. No wrapping around of anything, just kind of cutting them out. Let's make that a bit better. Cut out this little triangle here. Good, wonderful. So now, Belle is pretty well selected, so we'll use the Move tool, shortcut V, click and drag, Command T, and there we have it. Rename this Belle, and we are all good to go. All right, that was basic selection. Enjoy, guys.